Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. I am Dr. Muhammad Usman, Professor of Physiology, and in this video we will talk about motor areas of the cerebral cortex. So these are the areas which cause muscle contractions in various parts of the body, and hence these cause movements. So we can broadly divide these areas into two categories, that is general motor areas and special motor areas. Now general motor areas, they are concerned with motor activities in various parts of the body. Non-specifically, they cause muscle contraction throughout the body, while the special motor areas, they cause muscle contraction in specialized areas of the body, like as you can see here, this is Broca's area, and this one causes contraction of the muscles of the speech. So we will discuss these one by one. First of all, we will discuss the primary motor area. So this is the lateral surface of the cerebral hemisphere, and this is the central sulcus. As you can see, this is the most prominent sulcus, central sulcus, and in front of the central sulcus there are motor areas, as you can see here, and behind the central sulcus there are sensory areas. So we will keep our discussion limited to these motor areas in this lecture. So first of all, this is the primary motor area, this one. So this is located in the precentral gyrus, the gyrus located just in front of the central sulcus, that is precentral gyrus. Some part of this area, it also extends onto the medial surface. This is brodmann areas 4, and this area consists of a granular cortex. Now you know that there are two histologically distinct types of the cerebral cortex, that is heterotypical cortex and homotypical cortex. In the homotypical cortex, all the layers of the cortex, they are equally developed, but in the heterotypical cortex, all the layers are not equally developed, and we can divide this into two categories, that is granular cortex and agranular cortex. In the granular cortex, layer number 2 and 4, that is the granular layers, they are well developed, but in the agranular cortex, layer number 3 and 5, that is the pyramidal layers, they are well developed. So this is the map, histological map of the cortex. And in the motor cortex, layer number 3, that is external pyramidal layer, and layer number 5, that is internal pyramidal layer, they are well developed. Now here is another figure of the primary motor area, and this one is the central sulcus, and this is the precentral gyrus in which the primary motor cortex is present. Now you can see that in this primary motor area, various parts of the body are represented, but surprisingly the lower parts of the body, like legs, they are represented upward, and the upper parts of the body, like mouth, they are represented downwards. So in this area we can say that different body parts are represented, and a figure of the body is formed which is called motor homunculus. Now this motor homunculus, it is mirror image of the sensory homunculus. Again you can see that lower parts of the body are represented upward and the upper parts are represented downward. So this is a 3D image of the motor homunculus, as you can see in this figure. Now various characteristics of this motor homunculus are that body is represented upside down. Okay, body is represented upside down, and body is represented contralaterally, that is the right half of the body is represented in the left part of the cerebral hemisphere, and the left part of the body is represented in the right cerebral hemisphere, or in the right motor area. And another thing you can observe, that size of the different parts of the body, they are not according to their anatomical size, but they according to their functional importance. So you have a very big this mouth area and hand area. Actually those parts of the body which are involved in fine and skilled movements, like tongue, lips, fingers and hands, they occupy larger areas. Please note that in this motor homunculus, face area has got bilateral representation. Whenever there is a movement in any part of the body, blood flow increases in corresponding area of primary motor area on the contralateral side. Okay, blood flow increases in the primary motor area on the contralateral side of the body. Now let's see what are the various connections of this area. It receives efferents from primary motor area of the opposite side. Then it receives connections from the premotor area and also from the supplementary motor area. Then it receives afferents from the sensory areas, somatic sensory area, visual area and auditory area, and both of these, you know, these are the special sensory areas. And it also receives afferents from the thalamus, basal ganglia and cerebellum, which are the, you know, these are the structures in the brain which are also concerned with the motor activities. Now efferents from this area, primary motor area, they go to the spinal cord as cortico-spinal tract, and these efferents also go to the motor nuclei of the cranial nerves as corticobulbar tract, and these efferents also go to the thalamus, basal ganglia and cerebellum for motor coordination. Now let's see what are the functions of this area. Now this area basically initiates movements, and electrical stimulation of this area leads to the contraction of groups of muscles. Okay, it leads to the contraction of groups of muscles on the contralateral side of the body. So it means that this left cerebral cortex or this left-sided motor area, it will cause movements in the right half of the body, and also the right motor cortex, it will initiate movements in the left half of the body. Now in case of lesion of this area or its descending pathways, there is paralysis or paresis, that is weakness, and apraxia. Apraxia means loss of fine movement control on the opposite side of the body. So if the brain is damaged on the left side, that is there is lesion of left motor area, then effect or hemiplegia will be seen on the right half of the body. And similarly, if the damage is on the right brain or right motor cortex is damaged, then effect or hemiplegia will be seen on the left side of the body. There will be left hemiplegia. Now we will talk about the premotor area, and as you can see, this is located anterior to the primary motor area. Okay, this is the premotor area and this is located here anterior to the primary motor area. This is brodmann area 6, and it also has parts of brodmann area 8, 44 and 45. Now this area also has representation of different parts of the body, that is it has also got a motor homunculus, but different parts are not represented in as much detail as they were represented in the primary motor area. Now its output mainly goes to the primary motor area and also to the brainstem reticular system. And this premotor area, it also contributes to the pyramidal tract, but the primary motor cortex area is responsible for fine discrete movements. Now let's see what are the functions of this area. Now this area stores programs of motor activities in the light of past experiences, and it causes much more complex patterns of movements. For example, it may position shoulder and arms in a specific manner so that hands can perform a task. For this purpose, it forms a motor image of the activity to be performed and then sends this pattern of motor map to the primary motor area for execution, either directly or through basal ganglia and thalamus. Now lesion of this premotor area, they lead to the slowing of anticipated movements. But lesion will not lead to the paralysis. Now let's talk about the supplementary motor area, or it is also called motor association area. This area is located anterior to the primary motor area, as you can see in this figure, and it also occupies the medial segment of the cortical area 6 and extends into the medial cortical surface within the longitudinal fissure. Its output is mainly to the primary motor area. Now let's see what are the functions. It has similar functions like premotor area, and it works in coordination with that area. Whenever this area is stimulated, the movements occur on both sides of the body. So this is a difference from the premotor area. And other difference from the premotor area is that this area mainly works in response to the internal cues, while the premotor area that mainly functions in response to the external cues. And the supplementary motor area, it is involved in positional, attitudinal and fixation movements. So again we will have the same example that a person wants to climb up a tree and he requires a specific posture to climb up. So this supplementary area, with the help of premotor area, this will cause this specific posture which will enable the person to climb up the tree. And lesions of this supplementary motor area, they inhibit the ability to perform complex movements. Now let's talk about the special motor areas. As you can see in this figure, these are the special motor areas, and these are Broca's area or area for word formation, or it is also called motor speech area. Then we have frontal eye field, area for head rotation and area for hand skills. So let's move on to these areas. So Broca's area, speech area or motor speech area, it was discovered by Paul Broca, and it is located in the inferior frontal gyrus. As you can see here, it is located in the inferior frontal gyrus, just anterior to the face area of the premotor area. This is brodmann area 44, and it receives impulses from the vernix area or sensory speech area through arcuate fasciculus. Please note that this Broca's area is highly developed in the dominant hemisphere. Functions. This area is responsible formation. There is formation of detailed motor patterns. In this area, there is formation of detailed motor patterns for muscles of phonation and articulation. That is, which muscle will contract and how it will contract. And then signals from here, they go to the primary motor area to initiate muscle contraction. Now we have frontal eye field, another special motor area, and this is brodmann area 8. And whenever this area is stimulated, there is conjugate deviation of the eyes towards opposite side. As you can see, there is conjugate deviation of the eyes towards opposite side, and this area also controls voluntary fixation of the eyes. So in case of lesion of this area, person will be unable to move his eyes from one to the other object. This area also controls eyelid movements like blinking. Then we have area for hand skills, as you can see here, and as the name indicates, this area is responsible for controlling hand skills. And in case of lesion of this area, there is motor apraxia, in which the hand movements are incoordinate and purposeless. Then finally we have head rotation area, and this area is located slightly higher in the motor association areas, area for head rotation. And as the name indicates, this area, the stimulation of this area, it will cause head rotation. This area is closely associated with the eye movement area, that is frontal eye field, and it directs the head towards different objects. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Stay blessed and Allah Hafiz.